What's up, everyone, and welcome to the LCS and a special Friday edition of the LCS Waiting Room, where we are joined by Hai as well. It's a twofer. We get a waiting room on Friday, and we get Hai with us.
What's up? That's a dub in y'all's book, huh?
Fat dub.
You're
Glad
welcome.
you say so myself. 15 games of LCS action ahead of us this week as we close out the regular split. We move towards the postseason. There's a ton for us to discuss, so we're going to get straight into it. The first piece of discussion is, of course, around Hoon and his stated retirement. I think maybe some people had some inklings that this was going to be the case, but there was also absolutely no shortage of love for this man as he steps away from at least the playing side of League of Legends.
If I'm not mistaken, he said that he was retiring because he has issues, like wrist issues, right?
Yes.
I definitely feel you there, Hoon. I understand where you're coming from. You will get better as long as you put effort into getting better. Maybe he'll come back in the future. Who knows? It happened to me. Maybe he'll do as well. But for now, you know, he had an amazing career, and I'm excited to see what happens next.
You really realize the breadth of Hooney's career when you see some of these photos.
Yeah.
Winning Rookie of the Split in the EU LCS, winning an MSI, being on several different NA orgs before making a pretty good splash on TSM for his retirement. I mean, he's touched so many different teams, players, and personalities in his years as a player.
Yeah, like all of these names, players that have worked with him in the past, you forget how much of a footprint he's had. Apparently, Daryl Morey.
Yeah, I know. If people don't know who that is,
Yeah.
president of the 76ers now.
I didn't know that. I don't watch basketball. I'm sorry.
He was the GM of the Houston
I mean,
Rockets
look,
when
this
Clutch
guy
Games
was on three
yeah.
of the best teams across 3 different regions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know, at the times in which he was on them. So again, plenty of accolades throughout his career, and we could talk about him for hours, and we will talk about him again and plenty more. But I would also love to hear from the man himself and TSM as he retires.
It's been a long time. It's been definitely a long time. It's been 2014 to 2022. That's a huge time flies. And I mean, what can I say? It's just, I really appreciate it, how you guys have supported. Like, even, like, it's just all the year, all the way through. It was definitely for fans. Everything what I want to play or like what I want to do, like I just want to, I guess, kind of want to get better. That's just nature. When I see something is not improving, even though I put in time a lot, like it felt terrible. It was a pleasure to being a professional player in League of Legends as a history. Probably I don't know. I mean, hopefully people will miss me as a funny top laner, I guess. Not just random top laner. Hopefully, like, I could be a maybe top 10. Maybe.
Right, Reckless goes down, the tie, gets a bump, and Hoon, the double! The steal! What the hell? The quadra kill for Hooney!
This is my 17th.
Oh, that's me, no?
Appreciate it for all the support, and I'll be back. I'll be working in the esports industry. We'll see.
Hooney with the quadra, the fall, is it gonna be the penta? Hooney in the final game of their spring split gets a pentakill!
Nice.
That's a cute video.
There can only be one. There will only ever be one. Holo, holo, Hooney. I hope he knows. I hope you know, Hooney, how many smiles you've put on faces around the world That's a tough video to watch, actually.
Yeah, because it reminds you how amazing of a personality he has. Like, he can come into the room, the charisma that he has lights up a room instantly. And like the numbers they were throwing up about his career, like people will oftentimes forget. He had the perfect split with Fnatic, alongside Reignover, 2 LEC champions.
17-1 here.
Boom, it's
Close.
perfect.
Close.
He killed it there. Was MSI champion, Worlds finalist, LCK champion. He's had a humongous career, and also just a whole boatload of videos and like images and everything, because he has just had the most amazing moments in his career. So he won't be forgotten, that's for damn sure.
He definitely won't. Speaking of amazing moments, we asked the three of you to do a little homework this week ahead of Hooney's retirement, picking a favorite moment, best clip, play, whatever it was that spoke to you about Hooney's career high. You're first on the list. What'd you bring for us?
So I actually don't have that many years playing versus him, honestly. Since I was playing here before he came, and then he left for a while, I think to go back to Korea for a few years. But when I was playing versus him, I believe that was the split where he went like 17-1, the IMT where it's just Reignover and Hooney, and just running over every single top laner ever. And I just remember every time we played versus him, I just know Balls was never having a good time, and I couldn't really do anything to help him with it. I just know that he just kept getting like killed over and over in scrims, whatever the case would be. They would just destroy top lane. And I'm just chilling and bot lane as a support, playing with Sneaky, you know? We're just like 0-0, 10 minutes, and we press tab up top. He's like 0-3 up there. I'm like, yo, you having fun up there, brother? The answer was never yes. He's never having fun.
Oh, no.
I think people,
Man, they ran the server.
I was gonna say, some people are quick to forget that duo of Hooney and Reignover.
Yeah.
You know, we talked.
If you didn't play versus him,
There's lots
you
of really
forgot it, but
famous
if you
duos.
did-
I'm sure, exactly. Right? There's lots of really famous duos. Bengi, Faker. You look at Double Lift Afro. You know, like but somehow I do feel like at times Hooney and Reignover's duo is looked over, and maybe because they did it across 2 different regions, and so there was a bit of that separation. But when you start to understand the dominance that they displayed in not just one league but in 2. It's pretty.
I felt it all the way in bot lane, man. You know, I'm not even up there. I felt their dominance down there.
What an incredible trip down memory lane that was. Raz, you're up next. What'd you get?
Mine is go straight back to 2017 Worlds. When SKT went up against RNG, it was a banger of a series, goes to full 5 games, and it was just a great moment where you remember that Hooney is a carry. And this was just the punctuation mark in the series that launched them into the finals. And so for me, this is a great memory because people will always remember the personality that he has in the room and everything like that, but you forget about the fact that he is just an insane carry top laner that did it on the biggest stage.
What an interesting kind of year this was as well, because I just remember so much conversation around what Hooney would look like as a player within the T1 organization.
Yeah.
You know, just traditionally thinking about how top laners in that org or even just in the LCK would tend to get shifted to other styles. And there was a lot of like, well, will Hooney really be able to live up to that? And I think he did that and then some in the LCK.
Yeah, well, that's mine actually. It's from the same year, but it's when he won MSI. Because they fell short at World Finals when they lost to Samsung. But I thought at this MSI, Hooney was possibly the top performing player on the team. There were so many games where he was just kind of dirty farming behind the enemy turret or solo killing other people. You can see he gets to lift that trophy. And like in this moment, it was definitive proof that this guy who had dominated LEC and LCS was also able to dominate on a world stage. Like that to me was peak Hooney right at that moment.
Yeah, and a very, what a fulfilling moment too. And I love that you talk about how it was an example of how, you know, granted he's a Korean player, how Western people from Western leagues can ultimately compete, do have the individual ability if they work hard enough to get there. And a very much deserved trophy lift for him in that one. I just wanted to call up this little piece from social. While lots of people are fondly remembering Hooney, Whoppers was quick to say, can we get Hooney in the room at some point? That's my question. The quick addendum again, because he has been with us a number of times. I hope Hooney knows that he has an open invitation. If he walked onto the set right now, we would pull up a chair.
I kind of expect him to be hiding behind the
I was going to say, I'm a little worried that like the producers have now planned something and they didn't even let me know. He
Right
just
under your
from
chair.
the ceiling. He crawls out from under my chair. Now, Hooney, you have an open invite anytime you want to come on the broadcast. I think he knows that, and we all can't wait to see much more of him in the future.
Also can't wait for Coach Hooney.
We've already seen a bit of Coach Hooney. Let's get a little bit more of him, please, while he recovers. We are going to move forward, though, as we're diving into the last week of the regular season and the end of LCS 10. We continue to remember some of the top players from each of the positions historically. And just so happens we have one of them here. But this week, top 5 best mid laners was released. Number 1, Bjergsen. 2, Jensen. High comes in at number 3 before Pobelter and Power of Evil round us out. Hi, obviously got to come to you first, man.
Congratulations, man.
Taking up the number 3 slot. First of all, congrats. Absolutely, definitely deserved. How do you reflect on 10 years of the LCS and the fact that you've had this kind of big of an individual impact to be awarded such an honor?
You know, before I talk about it, I want to say that my top 5 is actually a little bit different than this. I have number 1 and number 2 at the same.
Yeah.
But I actually have Pobelter swapped with me. I have myself at 4th. And then for 5th, I have Niski there instead of PoE. I could see an argument where PoE is there over Niski. So it's cool that people put me higher than I put myself. And I know there's like some contention about where Pobelter I could be.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters too much where it goes. I think we're both pretty similar.
Sure.
So awesome that people think I'm that great. I'm pretty happy about that. I wish, you know, there are some things that I wish I could have done better. Obviously, looking back over 10 years, I mean, did I even play for 5 years?
I mean, when I
Well, it depends on when you start tracking, because like
Right.
you don't
I
count
definitely
the
didn't play
you
mid
don't
for
didn't
five.
necessarily play mid for 5 years, and this is just about your mid contributions. And I'd say like Bjergsen and Jensen, for their longevity and their success, are the very obvious one too.
Yeah.
But I think, especially when I'm looking at this high, the 2013 summer Cloud9 into 2014 spring C9 is like the most dominant stretch an LCS team has ever had.
Yeah.
Which is having a peak like that, I think, propels you on this list. You guys went 25-3 and then 24-4, and we're going to talk about it later. Like that summer split, you guys won the last 13 games of the regular season, sorry, the spring split, and then 5 in a row in the playoffs. So like you guys were so far ahead of the game, and I think everyone on that team was a contributor, but you had that like shot calling mantra around you that you were the one leading that squad.
We've also had the conversation a lot about how legacy and effect on league or play matters, right? And that, I think, speaks to Jad's point. When you guys came on the scene and displayed that dominance, it immediately forced not only every org in NA, but orgs around the world to start to go, are we thinking about the game the right way, right? You know, like, should we start to look at jungling in this way? Should we start to look at, you know, drafting in this way? Should we start to look at calling in this way? And so I think when we talk about effect on the game, I think that's included in this list, and I think that's where you do get a boost because, you know, inarguably, Bjergsen and Jensen's careers were longer, technically have and have more trophies, but I think your impact on the game is
I'm gonna
undeniable.
say,
Jensen has the same number of trophies.
that's true.
Okay.
I don't think Bjergsen's ever gone deathless versus me in any playoff series, but I've gone deathless versus him in the final.
There it is.
Is that a case for number 1?
There we have it.
I'm not saying I'm better than Bjergsen. I would never make that argument. But I have gone deathless against him in 3 games at playoffs, spring finals, 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see it.
I know we're chewing up some time, but I am curious because you mentioned it. Why is it that you put Pobelter ahead of yourself? Like, just talk to me about Pobelter a little bit.
I think it's because he's been playing so long at such a high level. People can make an argument that he's never number 1. Fine. But is he not top 3 for the entirety of the time of him playing?
Yeah.
You can make that argument. I think that's a really strong argument because it's hard to stay at the top for so long, especially for a role like mid where the meta changes so often. For example, when I was able to play the champions that I was good at, I was really good. But then it started changing. You started playing more control mages, more Azir, Orianna. You know, all these backline mages I'm not that great at. I wasn't that good at it. But all these other players on this list, they have been excelled at every single meta, you know? And for Pobelter, sure, he might have never been number 1, but he's always at least a top 3 mid laner. And I think that's an accolade people kind of aren't giving him credit for.
Very, very cool. Well, you, Pobelter, just 2 of the names on the list, 3 of the names on the list still playing in the LCS. Let's get a word from them as well.
It feels good making the top 5 list. Somewhat expected because I've been here almost the entire time that LCS has existed. So I had a feeling I was probably going to be on the list. But it's nice nonetheless.
I mean, I'm very grateful. I'm very happy about it, of course. I think making the top 5 in LCS is a big accomplishment. I think especially since I wasn't here from the start, right? I joined like 4 or 5 years ago. So I think making it, even so having like a late start into the league, I think is a good accomplishment. I'm really happy about it.
Hi, Bjergsen, me. After that, I'm not really sure who else people would vote. Since it's more like about history and longevity, I don't know if JoJo will be there, but I feel like he probably should. But honestly, I don't know.
Fair.
It's an interesting question because I think, again, it goes back to the debate of what are you evaluating? And I think the word best can trip some people up
Yeah.
because some people want to interpret best to evaluate ability and others want to interpret it as a more historical point and talk about legacy and effect.
Yeah, especially since you have to weigh as like a 10-year, bulk evenly. And you don't want, I know for a lot of newer viewers, they're like, yeah, JoJo had an amazing split. Why not JoJo, right?
Yeah.
But then there are a lot of names that I would go back to. And like, I like the fact that you're up there, Pobelter's up there, players that ultimately kind of played for the rest of the map and thought about the larger kind of game plan. He was that kind of player as well.
Yeah.
A championship in the mid lane for CLG at the time. And so like, for him, of course, there was a teetering off when he went on 100 Thieves,
Sure.
but he still had a really strong start of his career in the mid lane, and then, of course, role swapped to support. So I would have him like maybe just behind him as 6 or something like that.
I liked I see Niski call out as an interesting one where you start, again, like once you go past 5, I think 6, 7, 8 become kind of difficult, and there's some real discussion. While I love bringing up JoJo's name because I think JoJo has set himself on the right path to one day being on this list, I think we're still a number of years away from him being able
Jensen's
to challenge.
living in the moment.
Exactly. Anybody, exactly. But it does at least speak to the ability that JoJo has. That a
definitely
player on that
absolutely.
list is saying, hey, he's good enough.
A few more years
absolutely.
is definitely there, but you can't just count one good split, right? Because there's players like Froggen that have done good in one split. You know, people like Mandatory Cloud, if people even know who that is.
That's a different list. That's a different list, right?
player-
That's a peak tier list. Like evaluating people at their peak.
Another player that had a pretty good run of things in his earlier portions of his career was Shifter as well. So
There you go.
Shifter is another great example of
ManCloud
that.
had what, season record for most kills? Or
He still holds the record
holds
for
it.
most kills per game in a split.
Get the man on the list. Anyway, we're gonna move ourselves along. Super weeks. It's a super week. A lot can change. I know that it feels like a lot is already decided when we take a look at our standings, but I'm basically gonna hand this over to Jat to talk about how much 3 days of games can really still move.
Yeah, it's like you feel like you understand who the good and bad teams are since we've had 7 weeks of regular season, but this was the spring standings before Super Week. Cloud9 had the MVP in Summit, it just hadn't been announced yet. TL was right behind him. You thought 100 Thieves was on this win streak. Hey, there's your top 3. And look at EG, they're tied with Dignitas and Golden Guardians. And then, even just after the Super Week, already TL and C9 had swapped and EG had moved all the way up to 4. And then you forecast that further into the finals. EG ended up being the champions, even though they were in a 3-way tie between 5th and 7th going into the last week of the regular season. So there is a lot of league left to be played, and the champion is definitely not crowned through 7 weeks.
A couple things. Just the positional changes that we see here, right? The fact that the 1 and 2 seeds were traded. The fact that EG, as you mentioned, was in a tie for 5th, pushed themselves up into 4th, which actually meant they started in the upper bracket. That was important. And the fact that there was still a playoff bubble decision to be made with Dig falling out and Golden Guardians slotting up. That's a lot of really impactful changes that took place in the spring. Of course, it is an 8-team playoff, so things will look a little different here, Raz. But if you take a look at the current standings a little bit behind you here on the screen, we can see that the standings actually, they correlate rather well in terms of kind of the breakdowns and where we have ties right now looking at the playoffs.
I remember that period in spring, for me, my eyes were on Dignitas, a team that like we had undersold because we expected them to be a 10th place team at that start of that split. And then we were all talking them up because they were looking great as a unit, as a team, and then they dropped out of playoffs. So like things can change so much in just 1 week's period. So I'm interested to see what this one will look like, especially for teams like FlyQuest, who we were pretty high on in the middle portions of the split, and are now teetering off, and so it's looking bad for them.
We will keep you, of course, updated on all of the playoff scenarios as the weekend rolls along, but the one thing that's important to note is that everyone is technically still in it. There's a possibility, there's a chance for everyone on that list to make it into the postseason and even do some shuffling in the standings.
Dignitas could still win Worlds if they win every game from here until the end of the year.
Jad is not
You
wrong.
want to make a bet on that?
That's why you could. That is a Jad.
I'm not saying that
That's a
I
Jad
can't.
fact.
Yes.
That is a fact. Jad facts.
Jet facts.
Okay.
For Dignitas.
Good fact.
That's the end of Waiting Room. Hi, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
of
Once
course.
again, congratulations on the
care.
much-deserved top 5
Bye-bye.
in the mid lane. We're going to get straight into our Friday day of LCS games. Catch you back here in just a bit. Welcome back to the LCS as we gear up for our Friday slate of games, and we're welcoming Emily back onto the desk to help us preview that first matchup of the day. We're going to dive straight in. Let's take a look at the schedule so we know what's in store in front of us. We got Team Liquid Honda up against Dignitas to kick things off. Golden Guardians versus Evil Geniuses to follow that before we get to FlyQuest versus 100 Thieves. CLG versus TSM, and we close things out today with Immortals Progressive versus Cloud9. Getting straight into that Team Liquid matchup here at the top of the day, we're going to go straight to the man in the top lane, Bwipo, as he picked up last week's MasterCard Player of the Week interview.
Thank you, Dash. I do have MasterCard Player of the Week, Bwipo, here. It was a 2-0 week for Team Liquid. What was your mindset going into that, and how do you feel you were a pillar of that success?
I think the most important thing for me was to make sure that we were connected as a team throughout the mid game. I think we put in a lot of effort to make sure that we had the same views of progressing the game. I think that was something we've been struggling with, where we do really well in the early game, but then when it comes to the progressing part of the game, where you actually have to take your advantage to start winning, we just didn't connect as well, and we ended up not being on the same page very often. So moving into this week 7, we really tried to work on that, and I think that we've done a great job, at least showcasing that in week 7, and are looking to continue the trend into the end of the split as well as playoffs, of course.
That's very much clearly a focus for you and the team, even based on what we have heard in the recent squad episode. Do you feel that you were even more challenged in achieving that against EG, for instance? That was the second team you were able to take down, and you have had much praise for them in the past.
Actually, I think that EG was the perfect team to practice this against, because I feel like they play the fastest League of Legends in the LCS, which is, I'm not sure how fast they exactly play, but I feel at least that they press their advantages quicker than other teams do. So if we're able to go toe-to-toe with them, then that means we have a very solid early game, or very solid early to mid, and then mid to late. And I think that we were able to showcase that in the game we played against them, and I'm very proud of my team for that.
It worked out very well, that's definitely for sure. And taking a more broad look at Team Liquid, you're talking about being on the same page. One thing that you mentioned in some of your earlier stage interviews towards the beginning of the split was that you as a team wanted to play through bot and have that be a focus. But being that you are here for MasterCard Player of the Week, we saw a lot of focus towards you and being a key strength for Team Liquid just this past weekend. What updates can you offer in that team sense of your overall play style?
I think we all try to focus on playing more naturally together as a team. Playing naturally as in, like, you do what's best for the map right now, what's best for you, and you make decisions that are not necessarily selfish, but a combination of selfish is what, like, it's good for me, but it's also good for my teammate. And you don't hard force opportunities, by funneling your resources into one lane. You just take the opportunities that present themselves.
Yeah, take them and get those W's along the way. Bwipo, congratulations again on this honor. You would normally be the one holding this statue, but at least I feel like you are here somewhat in the studio. We can't wait to see you again.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Of course. And with that, let's go back to the analyst desk.
Thank you, Tigers. Congrats once again to Bwipo on picking up MasterCard Player of the Week alongside a very important 2-0 week for Team Liquid. And Jad, that's where I want to start when we talk about this team. There's a string of 1-1s. They finally break it into the 2-0, but in doing so, seem to kind of move back towards a strategy and a way of playing that definitely was they're more accustomed to and comfortable with, but not one that they necessarily said they were going to move towards at the beginning of the split.
Yeah, I mean, Team Liquid did say they were going to play a specific way, but this is not that team anymore. So I think they've broken the 1-1 ways and have found a way to more consistently win.
Yeah, the biggest thing about Team Liquid is for sure, like, they came in the beginning of the split saying that, oh, we're playing towards the bot side of the map. That's kind of our focus. And then last week, kind of similar to what Bwipo just said, they smashed the early game, and it was through top lane. It actually reminded me a lot of how they played when they had Alfari, would be to, had a 3-4 wave setup dive on the top side of the map, and they made it happen. It was very clear. It was an easy setup dive with Santorin, and then CoreJJ went kind of back towards it again later on when they were pushing another huge wave. So this team, I think, are a lot more flexible as they kind of let other people think they are. So that's the scary part. I think, yeah, for sure, great late game team, but also solid early game team that can play through top lane too.
Yeah, I think the big thing is now, as Bwipo was saying, how do they continue to kind of have that going forward? Because he said one thing I really liked was that we were all on the same page as to how we wanted to close out the game, right?
Yeah.
Like we already had the early game down, and it was that mid game and decision making around that we were struggling with, and now we feel like we have it. And obviously we saw that, especially in the EG game, with them focusing topside and snowballing from there. And now it's a test of whether they can do it consistently across Super Week.
True, and this is probably the scariest time if you're EG. You go through the entire split, essentially smashing, and now not only do you have Team Liquid that has really kind of circled a really solid way to play the game early on, and it feels like it's difficult to deal with them. They don't have any of the same drafting issues that you've seen in the past few weeks. And then also 100 Thieves, they're just on their tail. So I think this makes for a very interesting playoff run. Absolutely.
I mean, it definitely does, right? It is a totally different looking team. It's going to make a lot of those top level teams right now question their matchup or proposed matchups against this team in a best of 5 in the postseason. But let's talk about the team that's trying to take them down today. Is Dignitas. I did mention that every single team has a pathway into the postseason. That includes this Dignitas roster that's currently in 10th. But Jab, they've got to get it done starting here today against Team Liquid. And sorry, as I say that to you, Jad, Emily is actually going to make her way over to the Telstrator to help us understand.
Show us the way.
So
what this is.
Initially, I was going to do a thing like Jat did, right, with the TSM path to 5th, and I was like, oh man, it's going to be so easy. There's probably only 1 or 2 scenarios, right? There's actually 2,624 scenarios for Dig to make playoffs.
Oh, that's a lot.
Just without
Quite a few.
ties.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you
that's
add,
without ties.
Yeah, if you add, well, I can't write.
Wow.
If you add ties in total, they're actually 8,200.
Oh my God.
How many scenarios
Total.
are there?
So you're basically telling me, they're a lock.
So
for playoffs is what you're telling me.
No, a lot of stuff has to happen, but there are scenarios like this, which is like a very convoluted one that I found, where you have TL win, EG win, Fly win, TSM win.
This is good for the TSM 5th bet.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. We're killing 2 birds with 1 stone right here.
And then it would be TL win, CLG win, C9 win.
All of
Fly
these things have to
win.
happen.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is
and then-
one of the
And then EV win.
2,624
So you
scenarios.
notice that Dig can lose this game and this game.
Wait,
and,
whoa,
Yeah,
really?
and they have to, and all they have to do is win on Sunday with another, I believe, CLG. CLG has to be IMT. This game doesn't matter.
Wow.
All I know
And
is
then,
this seems
yeah, I
like a
think
very
what-
likely
That's it.
scenario.
Yeah, that's it.
So-
and then Dig. So
These are
there's
just
like
favorites,
there's
but
like
they
a lot of really varied scenarios. I was thinking this is going to be like so easy, but no. Dig actually have a lot of paths towards sneaking into that 8th place spot. This would actually cause a 3-way unresolved tie for 8th between Dignitas, Golden Guardians, and IMT.
And this has also reminded me that Golden Guardians has a hellacious run this week. They have to take down either EG, Team Liquid, or it looks
Or the
like they're
very
going into
feared
the
Dignitas.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. The demon banana peel.
Wow, just one of over
Yeah.
10,000 scenarios in which Dignitas.
Well, no, it's 8,000 total.
Oh, is included.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
yeah.
my bad. Oh, I
There's
probably should have read
There's 5,000 something with
the
the
total
with
right
ties.
after it was
Yeah.
a good indicator. So I'm sorry
Sorry.
that I no.
It's okay.
You
I
did
mean-
everything right. I did everything
And
wrong.
you would fail the test.
And I failed the test. There it is. As we kick off Super Week, Santorin knows the importance of a strong showing heading into playoffs. Let's take a look.
I feel very confident, and I think even before playing EG, I feel very confident because I can see us as a team, we're getting better and better, which is nice because, as I said in my past, there's been a lot of times where we were smurfing in regular season, and then the last couple of weeks heading into playoffs, we started playing really bad, and I was like, oh no, like if this was like 2 weeks earlier, we would have won playoffs, this kind of stuff, and I just hope that we can keep this momentum going, and I truly believe we can, but only time will really tell, right? So.
Welcome to Super Week, everybody. It's good to see ya.
I'm Captain Flowers. This is Azael. We got a hype day lined up here. I forgot to go to makeup before this. Our makeup artists are not happy with me, but
You
they
look
still
great.
got everything.
Look how beautiful you
Yeah,
are.
they rushed up
It's a
here
natural beauty.
with fire in their eyes and got it done in like 2 minutes. It was a thing of marvel and miracles. But now we got TL going up against Dignitas, and Dignitas better come out swinging, looking to take these guys down.
Yes, sir. TL have been peaking at the right times. Santorin was talking about it. They've been looking better and better. I'm really interested to see if they're going to go to similar strategies that they brought out last week with Bwipo, where Bwipo was really focused on playing comfort. He was looking for counter picks. He had the Olaf. He had the set game, which were just monstrous. And Santorin was playing heavily towards them. And it just seems like, to me, TL look their best when Bwipo is on comfort and TL are playing towards top instead of actually playing towards bot, because the bot lane seems fairly self-sufficient. You know, they're going to be able to deliver in the later stages of the game. CoreJJ loves to roam anyway, so will be interesting to see if that's the strategy they're going to go with here today against Dig.
Right, you can always count on Hans to put out the damage in a team fight. You don't have to have everything revolve around that down there. And let's see, maybe we can get another wide Bwipo taking over the top half of the Rift as Yuumi, Ahri, Poppy, and Kalista all band away. 12.14. Kalista still so very strong with control over the bot lane and control of the Drakes being paramount. Lee Sin, last ban of the first half here for TL.
Yeah, Lee Sin ban, a little bit interesting. Obviously, more of a, I think, a player ban towards eXyu rather than a meta ban. Lee isn't really played that much these days. But with Poppy taken off the table, they're maybe thinking, okay, right, they're banning out the Poppy. They want to go towards something like the Lee Sin. That would be a good answer for it. Kaisa, always the Bwipo hover. I believe it's his girlfriend's main champion, I think is the story.
It's something like, there's some sort of IRL lore. People got on me once for not knowing said lore
I'm pretty sure it is
so,
his girlfriend. Her favorite champion or her main champion or something like that is the Kaisa, so that's why he always hovers it first. So
well,
at least I never get baited by that.
You can only hover because Azir is going to be the lock-in instead. He's been in pretty much every game that he's not banned in the mid lane lately, so not too surprised to see that one. Wukong, another one of those tier list toppers, except over in the jungle role, we're seeing him all the time now, especially with the Poppy potentially not being allowed to play in this one. Dignitas, that was their first ban, so she's not able to stop Wukong from getting in there and doing what he likes to do.
Yeah, a lot of jungle bans actually. You know, there's the Poppy ban, the Trundle ban, the Lee Sin ban, Wukong taken away here. Santorin's next most played would be the Volibear, and then it's champions that he only has one play on, like the Udyr, the Viego. Azir, as you said, has been getting played non-stop. It's the most played for both Bjergsen as well as Blue, but it looks like Blue will be going very likely to the Taliyah here. And we have seen a lot of success on this champion. You know, Takoya had an incredible game. Jensen had an incredible game. So it has been very effective coming out of mid lane, but I do think when you're going to go Taliyah, you need to be actually pairing it with some hard CC. So I want to see if they're going to be drafting that, from support, looking for something like a Leona or a Nautilus or whatever. You need something to really set up the seismic shove. Otherwise, it's just not really reliable enough, and Taliyah is very reliant on that to get out enough damage.
Well, we got Sivir locked in for TL. So honestly, just very standard top of the table meta picks that scale for TL. I mean, Sivir has just been picked all the time, same as Azir. Ever since she got those buffs, brought back into the crit marksman role instead of that weird lethality boomerang pizza poke thing. I was never a big fan of that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Yes! Render unto me what is mine! Let's go!
Oh my God, the pop-off. I thought Flowers was about to knock over the table here. My man's jumping up and down. That was, you know what? That was actually giving me strong vibes of. That was like you were going Super Saiyan, right? Like you took the power. You're charging up. Skarner gets locked in. Flowers goes Super Saiyan.
I am so ready. I have been saying for the past couple of weeks, NA is behind. They need to be playing Skarner. He's got some good matchups. Zeri and Taliyah in particular, champions that don't have a dash, but champions that can be run down with the power of the Skarner speed, going with the Turbo Kim Tank, just sprinting at him. Zeri's not going to be hopping, skipping, jumping, running, and kiting if she's in a net.
That's true. If you can catch up to that Zeri, the ulti is going to be really effective. That's going to be the big question, though, is can you get up on that Zeri? I'm expecting him to, as you said, go Chem Tank, look for those flash ultis on these squishy targets. If you can lock them down, you can knock them down for sure. They're also not drafting a lot of dashes. As soon as Taliyah gets locked in, their next two are Sivir as well as the Skarner, who really don't care about the rock fields, right? You're not going to be dashing over that and getting stunned up. I can just see your energy. You're like pacing back and forth.
My blood pressure's going to be something you would normally be put in the hospital for. I don't even care.
Flowers literally did this.
We're going, yeah! But Sivir, Skarner loves being friends with Sivir. They're best buddies. Not only are they both from the same area in the lore of the desert, but Sivir makes him so fast. Anything that lets him accelerate faster towards these targets, these vulnerable champions in the Taliyah and the Zeri.
They're banning out the Karma. They're trying to hold Skarner down.
Exactly. Get rid of the Karma. Get rid of the Nautilus that can set him up, make it easier for it to hit them spots. Getting rid of Lulu, I like this ban from the side of TL. They don't want to have one of those supports that can really enable Zeri super well. Yuumi already banned out. That was their very first ban of the draft. Do they want to continue targeting enchanters here? No. Going to look towards one of those top lane tanks, recognizing that Dignitas doesn't really have a main front line right now. You got Wukong, but he's much more of a fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't really have any of that engaged. They don't have that kind of CC to be able to lock down some of these targets, so taking that away from Hoon. Hoon also has been mostly on tank duty, right? He has 2 Ornn games, a Sejuani game, and 1 Gnar game, so really kind of focusing towards that. It's going to be Renata Glasc, so something that is a bit difficult for Skarner to deal with. Obviously, trying to run through, if you're running straight at someone, it's very easy to disengage with the ult or the handshake to be able to actually push Skarner back. And that's where you are going to be more relying on things like that flash ulti. The blind Olaf top would be a bit of a throwdown.
That'd be a Chad move.
This is like calling the bluff, saying, Hoon, you got nothing. I'm going to blind pick Olaf into you.
He locked it in.
That is confidence there from Bwipo. And I'm going to be really interested to see, is Hoon willing to go something a little aggressive to try to answer this? Or is he just going to be playing, something standard like a tank up in the top lane? Would he be willing to go to something a little bit more risky? Some of these aggressive counter picks, things like Kled can be really effective into it. Kind of some of those range matchups can also be pretty effective into it.
If you can dodge the axes at least.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, if you get chased down, you're going to be in trouble. But things like Quinn can be really, really tough. Some of the aggressive melee matchups can also be really, really tough for Olaf. So I'm really curious to see what we're actually going to get.
He's hovering over a lot of interesting picks, and then settles on the opposite of those interesting picks, going with the tried and true, the Gnar. This just seems to generally be the answer. Well, we don't have anything specific that we need. This works in every situation type of a pick.
And to be honest, it feels like Bwipo kind of had the read, right? Like, he didn't think that he was going to have the confidence to go for something really aggressive, to go for some sort of, specific counter pick. So he's willing to blind it. And he is playing Ghost Olaf, so Hoon is going to have to actually be really careful when he is in mini form. I wonder if this is going to be a Stridebreaker game as well, because I do think Stridebreaker Ghost Olaf is really effective against some of these ranged matchups. You get up on top of them, you slow them down with the Stridebreaker, you pop your ulti, additional move speed, you have to slow down with the axe, the Ghost speeds you up. You can chase down and 100-0 a mini Gnar if he is in the wrong spot. So that is going to be a concern, but of course, if Olaf does not get ahead, this champion can really struggle sometimes later on. There are a lot of these champions which can potentially keep distance from Olaf, and if you can't be up on them, that ultimate is going to fade, and you're going to be charging into your death alongside Skarner.
Right. Well, hey, it feels good to have 2 Juggernauts with Sivir, because any sort of movement speed on a champion who just runs at you feels incredibly powerful. CoreJJ also locking in the Rakan, final pick of the draft here for TL. We didn't touch on that one too much, but it gives them a snap engage. It gives them an ability to say, hey, we are fighting now, that they can't just disengage with a handshake like a Skarner.
And this is kind of what I was talking about, something that we saw from them last week. It doesn't need to be a focus on lane, right? If you're going to be playing Sivir bot, just start calling, farm it out even. Like, it doesn't have to be a big focus on actually playing for the 2v2 or playing for the kills. CoreJJ can look to roam heavily, and when you're playing Olaf, like, that's a kill lane. You want to be playing aggressively for that lane, so I wouldn't be surprised to see CoreJJ getting out of lane and looking to focus some play up around top.
Alrighty, let's rock and roll. Let's do this. I do believe that we have the scoreboard bug, and there are items on both Hoon and Hans Sama.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's just scoreboard bug right now.
And Hans is Longsword 3-pot, and Hoon is just starting a D-Blade and a potion.
Okay.
So I can see that in game. So it is not going to be the cull start for Hans. Will be a cull start on the other side for Spawn. And we are getting the Ghost Tech, which we've been seeing way more these days from Marksman. People are really just kind of valuing the move speed more so than the heal or barrier cleanse, things like that. So It is interesting. You know, I do think if you can survive the initial phase of that fight, Ghost has so much value. And because you can get the resets on Ghost as well, like you start winning a fight, you can just be chasing people down.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it can be incredibly powerful. And Zeri with Ghost is a tilter to play against. I don't know if you've had the displeasure of playing against a Fed Zeri with Ghost, but if you thought she was fast with just the ulti stacks, you add in Ghost, it's like, this champion is inescapable. You've got to be on point with your engages to really knock her down. Or, you know, the juggernauts like Santorin and Bwipo are not going to be having any fun at all.
Exactly. We're going to see junglers starting on their blues. So opposite sides of the map here this time at the start, as Hans and Core will just walk right into lane. Okay. Yeah, Spawn tries to hit him with a couple of those Qs, not getting a whole lot of results out of those. And they just walk in. All right, looked like we could have maybe got something spicy, but they don't go for it.
Yeah, not going to go for anything much. You know, I wasn't sure if it was going to be, you know, fully committed to something. You can also just sometimes you'll see Sivir just start Boomerang Blade if they actually see a good angle, and they'll try to walk in and get a little bit of a chunk off right at the start. Some TL fans in the crowd there got the poster. That's a good drawing. It actually looks really like their logo.
Dude, I'm always amazed at people that can actually make art that's not just stick figures and circles.
Yeah, you're on the same level as me.
Yeah, we're not getting paid for our graphic content anytime soon. Like, we're just not, that's not our talent. We're talking guys.
Yeah.
As Skarner will make his way into the bottom side here. Remember, for those who do not know, Skarner Spires give him unlimited mana and a great increase to both attack speed and movement speed. It's 43% attack speed at level 1, scaling up to, I believe, 160% attack speed at level 18.
This is your opportunity. He's not reading these tooltips, folks. He knows this stuff.
Yeah, this is all memory. It's so much stats. So the big thing about fighting him
There's
in
one
the
guy
jungle,
that loves Skarner. That you found the other guy.
Yes, we've got the other guy. Hell yeah, other guy. But that's going to be a big factor whenever these two junglers find one another in neutral territory or in contested territory in either jungle.
Yeah.
If Skarner doesn't have the Spire, he can't go anywhere near Wukong.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Spire is such a critical part of his dueling power, you know, as well as the jungle clear, you know, the mana getting back, the attack speed really helps Skarner power through that jungle very, very quickly. It's looking like pretty mirrored clears. Skarner going to be one camp up, though. You are going to do those AoE camps a lot faster than Wukong in the early game. So he did 5 camps at the same time as Wukong did 4. Both going to be able to pick up Scuttle. And then likely Santorin will just head back and do the Krugs and then base, because there's not really going to be that much of an opportunity, I think, to find anything here around bot lane. The only lane that I think there potentially could be some action around is probably that top lane. So I do think it's going to be a pretty passive early game for junglers, really just prioritizing fast clears. Skarner likely trying to look for 6 and then really kind of go from there, because that's going to be your first opportunity to kind of have that explosive power to find a gank.
And honestly, as long as Gnar is not in mega form, you have 4 good targets to Skarner ulti. You really just don't want to go for Wukong, drag him into the team and have him spinning around on everybody. But we'll see Blue making his way back to the mid lane.
From Germany to watch TL, that's a long trip.
Holy moly, that is quite a journey, my friend. Look at that. That's one of those double-digit hour flights. You gotta have more than a book or one video game for that one. Those are tough. All right, so 40 seconds till the first Drake of the game spawns. Remember, these are all much more powerful on 12.14, so teams have been generally more motivated to go after them early on. Blue walking into the enemy jungle, looking to potentially either place down a ward or fake them out with the ward placement. You can see that the ward is not actually there except for the control ward on the back side of the red pit. Santorin's hanging out, seeing if maybe he can get a chance at the Taliyah here. Nope, they're gonna find him out. He just walks back into the river, captures that Spire. Remember, when you capture it, the entire area of it is illuminated. You get vision over that for 2 seconds. So it also helps reveal anything that might be nearby. Even though it's not marked on the minimap anymore either, if you're paying attention, you'll see it through fog. So that's one thing that generally favors the Skarner.
Kind of like teleport.
Yeah, exactly. It generally favors the Skarner over other players that don't know to look for it or don't know that it does that, but that is one of the additional features that you can get out of it if you're really paying attention and clicking all over the map.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see, you know, when he's actually going to be able to make that first move. Early Lucidity boots feel so standard these days on tank junglers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you get the CDR, get the move speed. Summer Spell cooldown reduction is also very, very nice. But we're having a pretty passive game here thus far. Hans and CoreJJ, though, already opening up a fairly significant CS lead down in that bot lane. So, you know, Spawn and Bio, I think, having more trouble than expected. You know, if they were expecting to, they're going to be struggling in this lane, I don't think he would have been going for the cold start, but eXyu going to come in, see if he can steal anything away. Only got one mini Raptor, so not really a big deal.
Yeah, doesn't really get it. Santorin doing a good job there, and since he gets the smite on the big chicken, that gives him level 5, so now eXyu doesn't have the level advantage in the 300 or 400 gold's worth of stats that would give him, so he then backs away. Also would have been fighting Skarner on that Spire, which is what he doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
So just wanted to try to contest that camp as Bjergsen gets hit with a little bit of a seismic shove here. And you talked a little bit about it in Champ Select. Seismic shove has a lot of counterplay because it is so easy to step out of without proper setup. But when Taliyah hits it into the field of rocks, it hurts.
Yeah, it is a tremendous amount of damage. I mean, Blue is going for a very heavily scaling build. He has no AP for step right now. Scripting Potion and Tier, so basically just all mana in the early game. So not going to be bursting that hard thus far, but you know, looking more towards that later stage of the game. Goes back, gets his Tier 2 boots. He's also playing Spellbook, which is much more of that kind of scaling setup as well. So we'll see where he's going to take us from here. Hoon up on the top side, going for the early tabbies. Move speed just so important in this kind of matchup. You know, you aren't playing to really dominate, you're playing to kind of neutralize in a lot of these cases, but TL now maybe setting up for the dive here. Spell shield's used.
They do not have an ulti on the jungler. They do not need it. Kill comes through. CoreJJ will not die in time to get the bailout, and it's first blood, and it's on Hans Sama.
They're gonna get it on Hans. That is huge. Spawn even flashing forward to try to proc that bailout, try to get the kill, try to get the reset. Not able to do it. Really well set up there by TL. They had him chunked down. They were already ahead. I mean, look at that advantage now for Hans here in that bot lane. Massively ahead of 1K in the lead. 8 minutes in, they get a plate off that. They deny even more minions. They get 25, 26 CS in the lead.
Wow.
And Hans is way ahead of the pace of the game. That is a big problem here for Dignitas, especially because both summoners are down, and now you can repeat gank at 6 for Skarner.
And I love the fact that these inventories actually ended up being exactly what I was going to use as the example. I was going to say, man, that's a pickaxe and a boot, and sure enough, both sitting on a Noon Quiver, but pickaxe boot advantage for Hans Sama. Extra damage, extra move speed in a matchup that honestly has a lot to do with that. Remember, Zeri is the AD carry that you can sidestep her auto attacks. So really, really nice stuff for TL here in the bottom lane, nice and early. Ultis are online for both junglers. Gank potential is greatly increased.
Yeah.
We're going to see Santorin start up the Herald here. You can see the 2 Ruby Crystals in inventory building towards the bombies. I'm fully expecting Turbo Chem Tank here.
Yeah, and TL have control of that top side. You know, Bjergsen got pushed mid. Hoon is moving down, but that means Bwipo is going to be behind him.
Yeah.
Bwipo taking some pretty big chunk here, though.
Hoon's about to transform, so Bwipo steps back.
Bwipo doesn't win
But
that.
he can't hide inside the brush. Hoon throws him back. Oh, nice sidestep on the wallop. Now Bwipo has to turn berserk. He's looking to take Hoon down. Hoon barely gets away thanks to Blue, but Skarner's stinger finds eXyu, and he has to flash over the wall trying to get away. Santorin continues the chase. He marks him with the stun, but he can't deal the damage. eXyu escapes over the wall.
Oh, good job by eXyu getting out of there, even getting the flash in. But at the end of the day, you know, TL do get the Herald here, so it is 1 for 1. They get the Herald. Blue gonna try to defend this, but CoreJJ is in the area. They will back out. I think if Hoon actually just got the bonus damage for slamming Olaf into the wall, like if he actually just slammed him towards him in Mega, I think he just wins that fight. Like, yes, Olaf is gonna pop his ult and then, you know, take that fight immediately. He's not just gonna sit the stun, but the damage you get for actually slamming him into the wall, I thought he could have just straight up killed him there. Instead, he used the ult kind of as a disengage, and it does mean that he needs Blue to come in here and bail him out. And this is where he's getting so low. Like, right when he procs Hyper here, I think if he just ults him into his own wall, maybe he thought he could have get him actually across the lane and into that, because the bonus damage here, he was so close to actually just bursting him down immediately. Blue just arrives in the nick of time there to take him down. The flash saving Hoon. It is 1 for 1, but in the advantage of TL because they have that Herald. I want to see Santorin try to get down here towards this bottom lane again, potentially punish spawn with no flash available. This tower is getting dangerously low, and you have the Herald. I mean, you just get Hans that far ahead of the pace of the game, and I think it's going to be really tough for Dignitas to beat.
Important thing to notice here too, Santorin running the Hex Splash. He has the Inspiration secondary tree, so I want to see some of that for playmaking, flashing over Dragon Walls, flashing over Wraith Walls. The different spots that you can get for the angles really opens up some creative choices when you're using that.
Yeah,
especially on a
absolutely.
champion that doesn't normally have a dash.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you can have things like a ward, expecting that one ward is going to cover all your angles, and then they flash over wall, they wrap around behind you. Can be very, very difficult. Here comes Santorin. expecting that he will look towards this bot lane play. Only 3 plates remaining on that bot tower. You can see eXyu is in the area. Bjergsen looking to get aggressive, though.
Oh, Blue. He's got to be careful about this one, man. Bjergsen is on the hunt. Blue, he even wastes the flash. Bjergsen dominant in mid lane.
Bjergsen, the 200th solo kill of his LCS career. The GOAT flexing on him here.
Makes it look pretty simple when he can just walk
Hex
up and kill him
flash.
like
Here we
that.
go.
But here it is. Hex flash over the wall, immediate handshake, but without any turret aggro, it's just like, okay, we'll just walk back out.
Yeah. Hey, just showcasing that he could have gone for a gank there.
Exactly. It's just letting him know, put the fear in him a little bit.
I'm surprised he doesn't drop the Herald. He's just going to actually elect to reset here. So I guess they decided if they can't get the full tower, it's not going to be worth just dropping it. So I think they were looking to see if they could find an angle to get a kill into that Herald and then take that full tower. But off the reset, Dignitas here may actually start up the Dragon. They're not going to elect to. Remember, it is obviously a lot tankier with these recent updates. So not feeling like they can actually burn this one down. We can watch this one more time. Bjergsen finding the angle, clean shuffle, straight in onto Blue, sidesteps the seismic shove there as the Ignite comes out. And Blue flashing, but he had him with the last auto. Perfect play there from Bjergsen.
Those always feel awful, too, when you flash at the very end and you die anyway.
Yep.
Because now it's like a death and a half, because now the next one's so much easier to get.
Yeah, I mean, you just call your jungler mid and you ult flash, right? Like, Bjergsen has his flash. Blue used Ignite and Flash and still died, and now they're wrapping around on him here.
Yep, just pull him on back. There's nothing to it. Sets it up perfectly with the Rakan, too, so they can chain the CC. Blue's got no way out of that one, and Bjergsen sitting on 2 kills now.
Nothing they can do. They didn't even need the Flash, and Bjergsen still has his Flash. Now his ulti is back, so Blue comes back to lane. You've got to be worried about dying again. Yeah, the Herald will get dropped here, so it's just going to be actually used mid to get Bjergsen even further ahead, who is already quite ahead in this game. Another couple plates will fall down. eXyu can clear this up. But that can potentially buy them time to even take the Dragon here because they have bot push, they have mid push, and they are working on this Dragon. So first Cloud Drake of the game going to be going TL's way. They're now 2K ahead. Has been more reserved early game. You know, TL has had some really, really aggressive early games. They've been one of those kind of super fast-paced teams. But when you're playing Sivir, Azir, you do not need to make all those plays early, and they're just creating solid advantages.
Right, they're up 2,000 gold. They've got a Drake. They've got so much plate money here. Bjergsen's going to knock another one of those down here in mid. Should be the last one he gets. I don't expect 15 seconds to be enough time to take out an entire last plate. You can see Hoon almost able to get 1 plate up here, but honestly, not even getting a single plate as a Gnar into a melee matchup. Good for Bwipo.
Yeah, Bwipo's doing just fine up there. You know, at the same time, Hoon has played it respectfully, you know, has not been taken advantage of whatsoever, you know, not getting solo kill, not really getting punished, so has played it pretty darn well, and it's going to be up to Bwipo to actually get things done in team fights, so we'll see if he's going to be able to do that. Can ignore a lot of what Taliyah does and just kind of run straight at Taliyah, try to target her. I think it's going to be difficult for Bwipo to actually stick to spawn, but maybe if Santorin could set him up, they could get something done there.
Ooh, Hoon losing the chance to get his recall there. Getting interrupted a little bit means that he's not too happy about it. He'll lose a wave to this turret, I would expect, as eXyu marked by the Skarner slow, but no opportunity to chase that one down for any sort of a follow-up. He'll jump over the wall onto the Krugs. Spawns up here to catch this wave as it crashes into the turret. Hoon's going to be sent down into the bottom lane. Han's just going to keep on utilizing this lead, shove it further, continue building. You can see Bwipo will knock down the tier 1 turret in bottom before Hoon's able to get back. Again, a consequence of interrupting the back, making it so that he could not recall when he wanted to. And Team Liquid just keeps lining up these dominoes and knocking them over.
Yep, looking really, really strong. So let's go back to some Skarner facts here. So, okay. If I remember correctly, you had told me that when you're playing tank Skarner, you should go Emax, right?
No, this is outdated information.
That's outdated information.
Yeah, that's outdated information. So generally the Qmax, especially now that the dragons are updated and Skarner's a good solo dragon taker and everything like that, Qmax is going to give you faster clear speed. Generally these days, Emax is only going to be valuable if the entirety of the enemy team is ranged and wants to kite you, because you'll never be in range with the Q. I actually did a little bit of a VOD review session with I Will Dominate after one of the games where we were talking about Qmax versus Emax, and we looked at how often the E's and the Q's were hitting and the sort of overall damage output. So yeah, Qmax is generally going to be what you want to go for here. He's maxing W second to get a little bit of extra tankiness, get a little bit of extra move speed. Generally, I find in a solo queue environment, Emax second will actually be better for you because it's going to give you more uptime when you're stunned, a little bit more of a damage profile. What are you grinning so much for?
I'm just enjoying how much you're enjoying it. I'm giving my homie his time to shine here. It's not that often you get a Skarner game.
I know,
So I'm just going to ask you some Skarner questions and let you go.
Do we have, what runes is he running? I know he has Phase Rush and I know he has Hex
I got
Flash.
you, 1 second.
But,
Here we
okay,
go.
yeah, so it's full movement speed, it's Water Walking, it's Celerity, it's Nimbus Cloak, exactly full movement speed, and then he's got Cosmic
and
Insight.
X-Fire.
Okay, so yeah, he wants to make sure that he's getting more summoner spells, more opportunities to make those big
maybe he's got
plays.
Zeri.
Comes up, he gets the stun, he butt twisted! That is why you do it! You pull him back! And now he might just die anyway. Oh my god, that was beautiful, Santorin, let's go! That was perfect! Oh, I'm gonna be making a lecture out of that one. You saw exactly why it's good. Dude,
yeah, he had to flash over him and just got stunned on the other side.
Anyway,
it was
that is
perfect.
exactly why you do the butt twist. That is Skarner, the one mechanic in the game he has. That is it.
It's really funny because I remember tweeting something ages ago talking about how pros don't do the butt twist. It was like, I don't know, it was kind of making fun of how you always talk about the butt twist. But Santorin replied and he's like, I do the butt twist. And I was like, do you do it in pro? I don't know if I've seen it. And he was like, oh, I'm not sure. But now he has something to point to.
He has. So let's take a look at this.
Let's get the butt twist in slow-mo. I want it zoomed in.
Right, so you have to mark them with the E first. He flashes, he pulls. Now watch at the very end, he's going to turn his character model around. He's going to flip his butt, boom! Spawns on the other side of him. He flashes immediately, but you A-click the ground and you will auto-attack them and trigger your stun every single time. Flash cannot clear Skarner's model distance plus his base 125 AA range.
I'm not sure if you were more excited for this or the like base race at Worlds or the Danny pentakill at the Baron Pit. It's hard to tell which was like the bigger moment for you.
All I'm saying is KT and IG should have played Skarner.
KTIG, butt twist. It's hard. It's really hard to kind of compare these things, you know?
Look, I'm just so happy we finally got a pro game moment that can be used to clearly illustrate what it is and why to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the things that I actually really like watching One Tricks for is you find these little mechanics that people have really put in tons and tons of games on a champion and they figured it out, right? And that's something that's so valuable anytime you're picking up a new champion. And a lot of top pros will tell you that they actually go to One Tricks when they're learning a new champion as well.
Yeah.
Because they can save you so much time with these little tricks that can win you games, that can win you fights, right? And this is one of them.
Right.
For those Skarner One Tricks out there.
It's one of those things where it's like, why would you want to put in the 200 games to notice this one little thing when you could ask a guy who's already done it, as CoreJJ goes in and finds the knockup, but there's no backup to immediately guarantee any more damage. Spawns at 2/3 and walking away, while Bwipo and Santorin are making the kill happen underneath the tier 2. They'll walk around, and now they're coming in for the flank. They gotta be careful. Team Liquid is caught out of position, and Bwipo and Santorin will fall. Dig, get a bit of a turnaround.
Yeah, they're going deep for that, but Santorin and Bwipo were super low off the back end. Hoon was coming from one side, Spawn and them were on the other side, so no real way out, so they both end up going down. A little bit of gold back in the pockets of Dignitas, but this one is not close at all. 5K in the lead now for TL. They are cruising so far here against Dignitas. And picking up where they left off last week, TL having that 2-0 week last week, looking really, really strong. And it's exciting to see that Bwipo is, again, back on this Olaf, and I'm really interested to see if that's going to continue tomorrow, the next day, and on into playoffs, you know, getting him these comfort picks and really prioritizing that above what is the traditional meta.
And it plays into what Santorin was talking about that we heard right before the game. Hitting the stride in the right time. You don't want to feel like you're falling down into the trench right when playoffs is about to start, and Team Liquid's doing good.
Yeah, here it is one more time. Stridebreaker to start it out. They just took a lot of turret shots, so getting very, very low there. Even that final shot coming in after their triumph, so Bwipo is basically dead no matter which way he goes. I think in retrospect, you know, the comms are probably run to us, maybe we can get you out, but I think it would have been better to actually just die to the Gnar instead of the Zeri, so maybe just try to exit out through the top. But TL back to the scene of the crime here, up towards that top side, invading, taking over vision, stealing away this red buff. Bwipo taking some damage here, but
he doesn't care too much about that. At any point, he can press the Ragnarok, be able to walk away from these handshakes, Renata ultis, anything like that. but Team Liquid still has a 5,000 gold lead. The Drakes are 1-1. Dignitas was at least able to stop a stack in that regard, as now Santorin just immediately going for the grab onto eXyu in the chain CC. Team Liquid perfectly layers it, makes it so there's no way for the Monkey King to drop the clone and try to get out.
Yep, no shot to escape from that one. Bjergsen pushing up on that top side. They are pushing in mid lane. They're pushing out bot lane as well now. TL playing through all 3 lanes. Bjergsen in top. They have this 3-man squad here, and they have Bwipo now shoving up that bot lane, creating these pockets of pressure on the map that Dignitas has to look to answer. And when they're trying to move between these lanes, that's when TL is actually pouncing and really punishing them. And with the item completions coming through now, it's just going to get harder and harder. Shadow Flame done now for Bjergsen. He has a stopwatch on top. Hansama is already on 2 items. Bwipo is already on 2 items. Shirellia done for CoreJJ. So the items are really showcasing themselves now from that gold lead. And it does mean, you know, one more bad fight, one more bad pick. It could be Baron. It could be game over.
Shirellia, Rakan plus Sivir ulti
So
with
much
2
move speed.
juggernauts on your team.
Yeah.
It really enables Santorin and Bwipo to do what they want to do and close that gap onto Taliyah, onto Zeri, onto these champions that normally rely on keeping distance against champions who just want to run at you, right?
Yep, absolutely. And I do really, really like the choice here of the Stridebreaker. I think it's intelligent when you're playing against a lot of these range champions. You know, not only does it have that 40% active slow, you know, anytime you're dealing physical damage, you get 20 move speed, right? So you're getting a lot of extra move speed to have that sticking power onto these slippery champions because that's exactly what they need. They need to get those initial kills, otherwise the fights can get tough. Hoon here.
Oh, Torin and CoreJJ and Bjergsen, man, there's no way out for Biofrost. They'll pick him up easy as bottom side Bwipo versus Hoon. Hoon transforms as Bwipo runs out of mana and runs out of his ultimate, so he has to disengage from this one. So bottom side essentially breaks even between these two. Bwipo's ghost for the flash of Hoon is going to be a cooldown favorable trade for him, but Santorin and Bjergsen, they can just duo this Baron.
Yeah.
This isn't too hard when you have Azir.
And Dignitas they have an idea that this is going on. They don't see Bjergsen on the map. They're trying to move over there, but they don't have vision. So it is risky here. As eXyu steps a little bit further forward, he could be at risk. They do get him off the Baron, though. Hans, again, just shoving in that mid lane constantly here. Sivir so strong in these later stages, just instantly killing out these waves.
She's not even Infinity Edge yet.
Yep, don't even need it. Dignitas just trying to reclaim some vision in their jungle, and they are able to at least move forward, but they don't know if TL is actually waiting, setting a trap. So they are going to be able to get into the Baron pick, clear out this ward, try to get down some wards to at least have a general idea of what's going on, but TL now have reset. They're going to be out on the map here once more. Another stopwatch purchased up. That's one on Hans now here too. Deadman's is done for Santorin, so more move speed. It's kind of the name of the game here for TL.
Yeah, pretty much the Skarner core build in pro play is going to be Kim Tank, Deadman's, and Force of Nature, those move speed tank items. Santorin stepping up here with the Deadman's plate. He doesn't have his Spire, but once Deadman's is fully stacked, your move speed is still going to be ferocious. So he can really pose a threat onto anybody that might be stepped up too far. As you can see, the Drake being soloed down by Bwipo on the other side of the map, as the remaining 4 players on Team Liquid will just posture aggressively enough to keep Dig focused on this, right? Let Bwipo take care of that dragon. That's no big deal. Everybody else just hanging out here.
Do you think Skarner looks more or less ferocious when he's going faster? Because like, kind of has those little feet. He's just scuttling really fast. They're kind of just wiggling around.
Skritter, sneaky critter. He's just in your jungle, skrittering around, trying to find somebody out of position. He's menacing. He's menacing. Look at him. Go get him. Get him, Skarner.
I don't know if that's menacing.
No, dude.
He's kind of just wiggling around.
He's my little guy. All right, so they'll clear out everything in this enemy jungle. They'll take the Skarner Spire. They'll place down the vision.
Oh, look at him go!
Skritter, sneaky critter, get over here! Nice kill! See? Menacing.
That was very menacing, I'll give you that. That was one fast bug. Gets in there, grabs the Gnar, takes him down. Man, all that move speed stacked up. Shirellia pop, Sivir pop. In goes the Chem Tank as well. He is zooming in there.
And they knew that the flash was down because of the 1v1 with Bwipo in the bottom lane previously. So they can guarantee that that's happening, as they still have to wait a little bit more before they can make another Skarner ult play, but they've got the damage through Bjergsen's fed Azir to just force the turret over.
Yep, gonna be able to knock that one down, no problem. Hans just splitting bot as Sivir here. He's just going to be pushing this in.
Split push Sivir?
Yeah, I mean, who cares? They're winning on all sides. Dignitas has had no answers, really, to the TL pressure here. They're just getting run out of this game, slowly bleeding out across the map. I've not really been able to find any big plays. To be honest, it's it's a team comp that's so reliant on vision control, because when you're playing a team comp that relies on flanks, you have to have TP wards, you have to have vision denial, so that Wukong and Gnar can be coming from different angles and, you know, getting in on top of them. And that's the only way they can really proactively make plays, you know, catching people out with that setup, plus Taliyah wall, etc. But because TL has absolutely dominated the vision game, they haven't really had that opportunity. The guy doesn't shout about me the way Captain Flower shouts about Skarner. I don't even want him, to be honest. Facts, Erica.
You know, that's one of the things that I always
She's
get
spitting.
is people on the internet saying that they wish they had somebody love them as much as I love this, like, make-believe purple scorpion. Hey, man, I'm not shy. I'm flaunting it. And
True.
Santorin,
It's a beautiful thing.
yeah, Santorin's just gonna zone him away
True love.
here because they don't even need him to take down the Baron. As long as he's got eyes on eXyu, they know that there won't be a smite steal away from this one. Sivir ulti's just gonna be used to get Santorin back to the pit, guarantee the smite secure for TL. Nice, clean take of the Baron there. No way for Dig to really contest it. And Isaac, we're 26 minutes into the game with a 9,000 gold lead. Options are running out for Dignitas, and they're running out fast.
And that's why they're all 5 running straight towards CoreJJ, seeing if they can get a pick there. A little bit optimistic, but
options
as
are
you
running
said,
out.
Options are
They're
running
running
out.
in.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's an option. Let's go. Let's get him, boys. All right, CoreJJ is just running out there. Santorin will
I think
continue.
we're about to see them die.
Keeping an eye on everybody. eXyu already used Clone. Biofrost with a handshake on Santorin to just stop him from getting in as fast as he wants to. Let's see if they'll keep chasing on the side of TL. They won't be able to close that distance in time. Bjergsen going to be the split man here. As you can see, 3 here in mid. Bwipo's in the enemy jungle, sort of still hanging around with mid. Bjergsen setting up the push top, utilizing the Baron split.
Oh, here comes
Bwipo
eXyu.
backs up. Okay, eXyu just walks in. Hey guys, what's up? Not a
Hey,
whole
I'm
lot.
flanking the
to gain
Olaf,
about.
and the Olaf is up 3 levels.
He's only got 3,500 health, guys. I'm on
Not
him.
menacing.
I'm here.
Fast Skarner, menacing.
Yep.
A level 12 Wukong, not menacing.
No, not menacing at all. Skarner is the
We're building
absolute
out a tier
value of
list.
Wukong's menace. He is just, he's there, he's terrifying. Wukong's just sort of hanging out.
Yep.
Well,
chilling.
Hans Sama, speaking of scaling, Hans Sama's at that point like you were talking about where the whole wave just evaporates. There's not even a point looking at this.
He has 335 CS. It is 28 minutes into the game. So
yeah, that's a pretty good,
he's got some
pretty
farm.
good rate.
Yeah.
He's also got the stopwatch in the inventory, so it's hard to do anything back. Flash ulti coming out from Santorin. Spawn's gonna be pulled in. Won't be killed off just yet. Team Liquid lose 2. They didn't go in with enough of their guys. They were too overconfident, and Dig get the punish. Now they'll try to find Bwipo here as well. Blue brings down the wall to buy enough time for everybody else to close the gap. Dignitas need to bring everybody to this party. Bwipo is
Good
a very
sidesteps.
strong Viking. He's doing a good job stepping away from these. Oh my God, he's just walking
here
away from
goes.
them. 1v5, Bwipo! He won't get the kill because of the bailout.
It's never a fair
Wowee.
fight. Never a fair fight.
Oh my God, yeah, bring 5 next time.
Yeah. 5 and you're using the bailout. Meet me in the Baron pit, bro.
Yeah, 1v1. Let's see how good you
1v1.
guys do. 4v1. Let's see how you do with 4 of you.
Yeah. True.
Nice take on the inhib, though, while it was happening. So here's another look at what happened. Santorin, he was ready to go, but they just didn't have the damage to get it done. eXyu did a great job.
Exactly. eXyu really did a good job there, zoning him out. And then Hans Sama, the traitor, just deletes CoreJJ, gets hit by the Renata ult. He just absolutely obliterated him, and now it is Dig starting up the dragon here. Hoon is charging up the Narbar, does have TP. Do they have a flanking ward? There's one over by the red buff. They're just going to TP straight in on this.
Okay.
But now they're kind of in an awkward spot because they're kind of zoned out away from their base. CoreJJ is flanking, and they're going to TP in the Olaf. They're going to look for a fight here.
They found Biofrost here at the start. Handshake's going to buy him a moment to get back with the rest of the team. Bjergsen and Hans Sama got to be careful. The carries are alone. Oh, who didn't know the damn thing? Now he's going to be pulled right back into Team Liquid's arms. He's dead. eXyu's dead. Biofrost is dead. And Spawn and Blue are running into the wrong jungle on the wrong
They're
side of the
between a
map.
rock and a Skarner.
Oh, and Skarner might have the range of a rock, but he's a lot scarier. Get in there, Skarner. Bwipo's gonna run him down with Ragnarok. Spawn jumps over the wall. He'll
Keep
try
going,
to keep
Skarner.
fighting
You
this
can
one
do
out.
it, bud.
Get him, Skarner. Bjergsen's in the enemy base. He's gonna take this one out together with Hans. Nobody should be able to respawn in time to stop it. They don't have the Baron anymore, but who even needs it? Spawn's just running away from everybody else back towards his own base.
Skarner will catch him by the time he gets a rework.
What is this yakety stacks chase sequence?
Get him,
Go
Santorin!
get him, Santorin! Spawn's trying to get away. Renata ulti comes out. Bjergsen going in. Alley-oops him
They
straight
got
back
him.
into the wall. Biofrost likely to die here first, but Spawn's not gonna drop in time. Team Liquid takes the game in 30 minutes.
Oh, it's a stomp. TL looking so strong here today. 10K up by the end of that one. Flexing on him with the Skarner. TL felt like they were in full control, start to finish. Hansam and CoreJJ created a massive bot lane advantage. Almost ended with the Flame Horizon, just 4 CS off at the very end of it all.
Bjergsen was doing the same in mid. He was solo killing blue. He was forcing flashes out in damned situations to begin with. Honestly, just showcasing the skill gap between these teams. Like, Team Liquid's a contender. They're turning on at the right time, and they were able to just smash Dig out of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought after we saw the draft, you know, we see the Olaf pick. I thought, okay, they're going to play towards this aggressive pick on the top side. They're going to try to really go at Hoon. But Hoon was kind of just chilling up in the top side, farming. You know, TL didn't spend their time up there. It's Bjergsen getting a solo kill mid, as you said. And it was Hansam and CoreJJ creating such a large 2v2 advantage, getting a big CS advantage, that attracted the junglers. That brought Santorin down there to really hammer it home. They pull off that dive. And all of a sudden, Zeri is completely out of it. And without the Zeri, it's like that was their true threat, I think, to this kind of Juggernaut comp, is that Zeri had to be able to really take over in some of these team fights. And we saw when Zeri's really the only threat, no QSS available, well, Skarner can answer that pretty easily when Flash is up.
And that's what I really like, just the comp from TL. It was very cohesive. It was very coherent.
A lot of speed up.
2 Juggernauts. Speed up on Sivir's ulti. Rakan buying Shirelia's, making sure he gives him another go button. And then Bjergsen is just on Azir. Just in case this entire run-at-you Looney Tunes style doesn't work, you've still got the guy who got voted best all-time mid laner in North America playing one of the scalingest champions in the game. Exactly. We've got plan B, and B stands for Bjergsen.
Where's the trust, you know? There shouldn't be a plan B. It should be Zillion.
Bjergsen,
Zillion mid.
Just make Skarner even faster. Exactly. We're heading to a break right now, but when we return, we got the king of the jungle, Santorin, in our Verizon post-game interview. We'll see you there.
That's menacing.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yes! Render unto me what is mine! Let's go!
Oh my God, the pop-off.
Needs to make those big
Maybe
plays. Comes up, he gets the stun. He butt twisted! That is why you do it! You pull him back! And now we might just die anyway. Oh my God, that was beautiful. Santorin, let's go!
Upgrade your shimmering slippers to keep sparkling.
Hey, Ash, what's your plan?
A new and very serious game, Jake from State Farm, but these in-game purchases are wrecking my wallet. I can't keep sparkling, Jake. I need a sparkle.
State Farm has options like combining home and auto, so you get a rate that fits your budget.
Very nice. The gameplay is really strategic, I swear.
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.